it. You need to diversify, have energy security or economic security. And agri sector has been strengthened.
Let me give you a quote from what he said. He said 20% of oil revenues have been lost in the last 4 or 5 years. So now you say that we're moving away from that.
I'm not saying we're moving away, but I'm saying that
he said,
okay, go ahead.
Now we're moving away from that to a diversified economy. But what's the guarantee that we'll not be losing? I hope I'm getting it. What's the guarantee that we'll not be losing this amount of revenue, even in this new diversification system that we're diversified?
But I mean, see how it is going. See, look at MPDC, for instance. Before now, everybody, we want Nigerians. The Nigerian local content law gives us a lot of opportunities to play. But how many, do you know, I think about 52 licenses we are giving for, not unitized field, I forgot the word for it, but how many local companies are producing? We still haven't built certain capacity to take care of this thing, but you still have to strengthen. But the ones that are strengthened, MPDC are now doing almost 200,000 barrels, getting it to be a world-class player. Okay. But in line with what he's talking, but you have to. You're not going to look at this one in isolation and ignore the other one. You look at the changes here and equally look at how is it playing out in the other part of the world, because you need to be able to do a trend. If this is happening here, is it happening over here?
Okay, I think we should quickly move on to some of the other areas of expectations this year. The elections are going to come in February, and people, some are apprehensive, some think, it's not going to go the way it should. What are your expectations from the players, as in the candidates, the INEC, and all Nigerians?
First of all, if I talk about expectations from all Nigerians, it's zero, as usual, and that's because we don't think we're part of it. We think it's a business for the politicians. But I'm praying that as we grow, we begin to realize we should partake. And partake how? What we're doing right now. Warn the politicians, please play your game. This is not the first time. Let's go back to 1959. We're back to like 1959. We have solid opposition, which is beautiful. And because of that alone, that again is a foundation for a takeoff of good governance. Because if you don't have that opposition, you can do what you like. And they'll say it's impunity. People thrive on the inadequacies of others. Today, no matter who gets into power, you're conscious of the fact that everything you do, together with technology, people will picture you, people will show you, people will expose you. And you don't want it in the papers tomorrow, and you don't want the disgrace, you do the right thing. So we begin to build gradually, as far as that is concerned. And I tell you, apart from the fact that we, of course, may have sore losers, who again will want to play on what they always play on when they have nothing else to talk about, tribal sentiments, and then begin to want to create problems, I expect that this election will be different, because we're now having giants come out to say, you know what, we're struggling for Nigeria.
So what will make the difference?
The difference will be the fact that they will be forced eventually to discuss issues. And when they're discussing issues, Nigerians are learning. And when Nigerians begin to learn, Nigerians will hold them responsible.
The little you have heard of what the politicians have said, do you think all of the things they said, or most of it, are issue-based?
You have to feel sorry for me. I've decided to be very positive. But if you ask this question, the answer is they've not done anything sensible. And Mr. Odi said it. He said, when you listen to what the politicians are saying, you see the same old jokers. They are not doing right. But that's our job.
Okay. Mr. Oni, the politicians have said, but let's look at the electorate. Do you think the mindset has changed towards issues rather than sentiments?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. You only need to pick the newspapers to see some of the views that have been articulated. And I actually shudder if the electorates are not light years behind some of the issues that we should be putting on the front burner. Today, we know the issues. I think they're very straightforward. There's a problem of the poor state of infrastructure. How do you grow the so-called largest economy in Africa to generate jobs? Today, 1 out of every 2 youths is out of job. Corruption. It has become the directing principles of state policy. Everywhere you go. And unfortunately, it's not even sparing of any sector anymore. Whether we're talking about the private sector or the public, the rot is everywhere. How do you create not this kind of perverse incentive systems where you don't need to work to earn money? Those are the issues that you should be talking about. Insurgency, let me say that as serious as the issue of insurgency is, I believe Nigeria will get over it. We will get over it with time. One, you are beginning to see even people's resistance, even to some of these things. With time, we will master it. The technology will come eventually, and then the people's consciousness will become much more awakened. Now, about the Christmas period, we had a young lady was picked with a bomb strapped to herself. We begin to see at least some kind of light in it, So those are issues that will come up. How do we take this country from where it is to where it will be?
And it doesn't lie with the politicians.
Today, nobody is talking about it. We are talking about certificate. We are talking about
it's important.
Religion. We are talking about
we're almost out of time here.
Smear campaigns as against.
I'm coming to you.
As against issue-based things.
Those are issues. I mean, he talked about fundamental flaws. And
there's really no time. So
yeah. So fundamental flaws. Let's look at fundamental flaws. Fundamental flaws, say in education, is when people, secondary school students, let's say you have 37 of them in a class in Lagos, but because one is from Anambra, one is from Zamfara, one is from this thing, the standards are different, taught by the same teacher, but from where you're coming from determines your cutoff mark into a unity school. If you're from Zamfara, it's 2%. If you're from Anambra, you're 78%, taught by the same. So those are then you mature these people into the university, and you expect magic to happen.
The court has struck.
No. You just but we're talking about fun. It just got struck off the other day. So you have to give credit to situations that get it out. Then you're talking about he raised another issue about infrastructure. We're talking about before now 50,000 people on the road on a weekly basis to 500,000, 25,000 kilometers of highway done. So, we have to give credit to certain situations. You're talking about 55 million people on the internet, making it the 7th largest country because you determine it by ISP. You're talking about 55 million people on the internet, and you think there is no change going on. And we talk about certificate, and you say it's something that is lovable. Because these things are, what is the background? If something is built on a fault line, and the fault line is discovered, you crash that building.
Okay.
So if somebody end based on a fraud of having no certificate and always presenting it as though you had it, no primary school certificate, and you became a second lieutenant, no secondary school certificate. So when you build it on a fraud, and finally, I'm a Christian, I'm a born-again Christian, and I see it, I cannot imagine an imam. So I see my religion under attack. If this one is a passionate thing, because I think the Christian community are really, at ease on this situation. I know.
Can we focus on the issue?
Yeah. It's not.
Issue.
You said at the start of your discussion that you want government not to meddle with institutions. So what would you tell government in that area that, okay, some of these institutions, the EFCC, all of the institutions that should build the society, how do you think government should stay away?
No, government have stayed away. What
your final thought?
The institutions that have been strengthened or should have their voice. What I expect of EFCC, yes, you're part of the executive arm, but you're not executive arm. I expect them to pick up the mantle and do their job. I expect the boss there, when he was given the job, he was given the job based on popular demand by Nigerians. No, the did a excellent job because the director of operation was this guy. Now you're there. Why are you going to sleep?
All right.
Those kind of things. So I expect the people to, pick up the mantle and do their job. And I expect Nigerians to be so informed to know who is responsible for this thing not being done?
Thank you. So what do we?
Yeah.
Final thought.
Very, very easy, because I love the interventions of Mr. Oni. He talked about the economy. That affects you and I. It affects all of us. The question I ask, the economy is so bad, according to him. How come we are now witnessing more direct foreign investment?
Oh, that's right.
Why?
Okay.
Do you think those people want to put their money where it's bad? No, they are thinking above us. We love to criticize ourselves. That's why I say I've left that field. I'm now in the positive. Why are these people coming? They don't go to where it won't work.
All right.
That's
Thank
all.
you. Mr. Oni, final
Okay,
thought.
finally, you talked about economy working. Foreign direct investment coming to Nigeria. I wish I can accept that. The truth of the matter is that in 2007, at the crash of the global financial market, those foreign investors were the first to exit, and they pulled their investment of $4 billion out of the economy, and our capital market is just barely recovering ever since.
Oh, that was a good
Go and look at the manner, go and look at the portfolio investors streaming in. They are fly-by-night contractors who will never build the economy. Now ask yourself, if your economy is so sound, why are your small-scale industries dying every day? Why are those ones who are in operation, why are they flying to neighboring countries? Are we really growing the economy? Somebody can come with $10 here and do all manners of trade and get away with it. That's not the kind of future. That's not the kind of economy that we want to build. That's not the kind of that's not the kind of industrialization we are looking. We are looking about real investments. And as far as we are concerned, we find all we have are ministers coming up, giving you figures, wallet, e-wallet, all manners of wallets that are simply not translating
just like
to
the certificate.
real things in the marketplace. What Nigerians want to see is a complete change in direction of the economy. That's what is going to help this country.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. There's so much passion this morning. You know, when it has to do with Nigeria, we are all passionate, and we're all looking forward to making sure that it all works for all of us.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming.
Mr.
Thank you
Kechi
very
Debe, civil rights activist, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sonia Oni, member editorial board of Nations newspaper.
Thank you.
And Mr. Oscar Nwudiwe, a legal practitioner and social commentator. Thank you all for coming. We've been looking at the 2015 and the expectations for this year, politically, security-wise, economically. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll look at the political